That yard 3 streets over, the one that makes you slow down every time you drive past it, the one that looks expensive, it probably cost less than yours. Not less than a landscaper's quote, less than what you've already spent on yours, in pieces, over 10 years. A tree here, a fountain that seemed like a good idea. Looking expensive has almost nothing to do with money, and nothing to do with taste either. It comes down to 3 things, and none of them cost $1. Nobody tells you that because there's no money in it. 10 changes that use all 3. Real cost on every one, and where it's been measured, what it's worth back to you. Number 4, hands you back more than it costs. And number 1 costs about $30 and is worth $6,000. Number 10, real landscape lighting instead of solar stakes. Quick word for the regulars. A few weeks back I went through the features I regret, and hundreds of you asked the same thing. Fine, I pulled it out. Now what goes in? This is that answer. We start with the most expensive thing on the list because it's the one that changes the most. A yard that looks expensive at 9 at night. That's the whole secret. Most people spend everything on how the front of the house reads at 2 in the afternoon, and then the sun goes down, and it's a dark shape with a porch bulb over the door. Low voltage LED, 4 to 8 fixtures, run you $200 to $500 if you put it in yourself, and a contractor charges $90 to $150 per fixture just for the labor. So doing it yourself is where the money is. Where to put them? The walk to the front door first, then 1 tree lit from the ground up. That's it. 2 moves. The uplit tree is the one that makes people slow down in the car. Now the part nobody tells you, and this is why I put it at 10 and not lower. Solar stakes and string lights are not a cheaper version of this. They're a different thing. After 2 winters, the plastic lenses go cloudy. The batteries quit at different times, so half the row is dark, and the stakes lean over in the freeze-thaw. Landscape lighting is part of the architecture. String lights are decoration. From the street you can tell which is which instantly. Quick thing before number 9. For anyone who wants all of this written down in one place, everything I do in my own yard, and the parts I haven't gotten to on this channel yet, I put it together in a book at henrysgardensecrets.com. It's called The Low Maintenance Garden Blueprint. I won't bring it up again. If you want it, it's there. Now, number 9. A compacted stone sitting area with a steel edge. A rectangle of stone off the back door does something a lawn can't do. It makes a room. Suddenly there's a place chairs belong, instead of chairs sitting out on the grass, looking temporary. The money on this one is not close. Stone runs about $1 to $4 per square foot, doing it yourself. An installed concrete patio in 2026 runs $6 to $20. For a 12 by 16 space, that's a few $100s against a few thousand. Now, I have to be careful here because I've told you before to stay away from gravel, and I meant it. So let me be specific about what I mean and what I don't. I don't mean pea gravel. Those little round tan stones roll under your foot, and if you are 65 years old, that is not a design question, it's a fall. I don't mean white marble over black landscape fabric either, and I do not mean landscape fabric at all, ever. The weeds don't come up through it. They root in the dust that settles on top of it, and once they're in there, you cannot get them out. What I mean is angular crushed stone or decomposed granite. Angular, so the pieces lock together instead of rolling. 4 inches of compacted base underneath, tamped in 2 layers. Then a steel or aluminum edge around the whole thing set flush with the ground. The edge is the whole job. Stone with a hard edge reads as designed. The same stone without one reads as a pile somebody dumped. One regional note, and it matters. If you're somewhere that freezes and thaws all winter, the Mid-Atlantic, the Mountain West, the Southern Midwest, the ground moves under this more than it does up north, where it just stays frozen. Snow shovels lift the stone with the snow. Use a rubber-edged shovel or leave an inch of snow on it as a buffer. Number 8, a flagstone path with plants in the joints. Most front walks in this country are a poured concrete ribbon from the driveway to the door, and there is nothing wrong with them except that they say nothing at all. Large flagstones, set with even gaps with something growing between them, cost a fraction of a solid stone walk, and to the eye, they read as more expensive than the solid one. That's the trick of it. The gaps are what make it look considered. A path with air in it looks designed. A path with no air in it looks poured. 4 inches of compacted base under each stone, added in 2 layers and tamped between them. Even gaps, pick a distance and hold it, because uneven spacing is what makes a homemade path look homemade. Stones big enough that a full adult foot lands on one, which for most people means 18 inches across at minimum. For the joints, creeping thyme is the one I'd point you at. It handles the kind of traffic a stepping stone path gets, somebody walking across it, not children running on it all afternoon, and in late spring into early summer, the whole path flowers. One honest note on it, from Zone 6 south, it stays green most of the winter, but up in 4 and 5 it goes brown and comes back in spring. That's normal. Lay a flagstone straight on bare soil and it will sit flat for exactly 1 summer. Then water freezes underneath it. The stone lifts at one corner, and now it rocks every time you step on it. There are people on the tractor forums who did that and were pulling the whole path back up 2 years later. And don't run 3 materials at once, flagstone and brick and stone chips all together. 1 hard material, 1 soft one. That's all it takes. Number 7, 1 big planter instead of 5 small ones. Here's the one that costs the least and that almost nobody gets right. Go look at your porch or your back step. If there are 5 or 6 pots out there in different sizes and different colors, all of them ordinary, that reads as clutter, no matter how good the plants in them are. 1 large planter, 24 inches across or bigger, reads as a decision. This is the first of 3 rules that everything on this list is built on. And the rule is scale. 1 big thing beats 5 small things every single time. 1 planter, 1 boulder, 1 tree, lit from below. The eye needs somewhere to land, and 5 small things give it 5 places to land, which means it lands nowhere, and the whole yard reads as busy. A good large planter runs $80 to $130. You can cast one out of concrete for $30 to $50 if you like that kind of Saturday. If you can't bring yourself to go down to 1, and I understand I've got pots I'm attached to, then group 3. Same style, same finish, 3 different heights, set in a triangle rather than a row. 3 matching pots read as one thing, 5 mismatched pots read as storage, 7 little terracotta pots lined up along the porch step. Every one of them is fine on its own. Together they look like a garden center display that didn't sell. The opposite failure is just as common, a big upright evergreen crammed into a pot that's too small for it. The plant's fine for about a year, then it dries out every single afternoon in July, and you cannot water it enough to keep up. 4 down, 6 to go. Tell me your state in the comments and which one of these you're actually going to do. Not all 10, the one. I ask for the state because half of what I just said about frozen ground and snow shovels changes completely between Minnesota and Georgia, and I'd rather answer you than answer the average of you. Number 6, wash what you already have. Number 6 adds nothing to your yard. It just uncovers what's already out there. Pull the driveway, the front walk, and the back patio out from under 10 years of gray, and it is the most dramatic before and after available to a homeowner. Not the most beautiful, the most dramatic. Concrete comes back 2 or 3 shades lighter, and people genuinely think you replaced it. A pressure washer rents for $40 to $100 a day. 1 Saturday. Here's the number that makes it worth your morning. Researchers at the University of Texas took street photographs of more than 400 houses, graded how well kept each one looked, and matched that against what the houses actually sold for. The tidy-looking ones went for about 7% more than comparable houses on the same block. In a slow market, that gap widens to 10 or 11, because when buyers have choices, the tired-looking house is the one they skip, 7%. For a rented machine and 1 Saturday, on the part of the property you were never going to change anyway. Settings matter here. Concrete takes 2,500 to 3,200 psi. Wood is a different animal. Start around 1,800 and don't go past 2,500, because above that you're stripping the stain and raising the grain. Now, the red tip, the 0-degree nozzle, the one that comes in the box with the machine, leave it in the box. It puts the entire force of the thing into a point the width of a pencil. On concrete, it etches lines you cannot undo. On a deck board, it gouges straight through. Use the green one, 25 degrees for everything. Consumer Reports says don't own the red one at all, and they're right. It'll take skin off. Number 5, stain the fence dark. An orange-brown fence pulls your eye straight to it. A dark fence disappears, and everything planted in front of it suddenly looks twice as full. Same reason a museum paints the wall dark behind a painting. Dark steps back, whatever's in front of it comes forward. An ordinary row of shrubs against a graphite fence reads as a designed border. The same shrubs against a honey-colored fence read as shrubs by a fence. 5 gallons runs about $150 to $200 and covers a lot of fence. And here's what keeps it cheap. You don't have to do the whole thing. One section, the run behind your main bed, that's the part anybody actually looks at. Colors that work: graphite, dark walnut, soft black, matte or satin. 2 things will undo all of it. First, gloss. A shiny fence catches sunlight in patches and reads as cheap plastic from 30 feet away, which is the exact opposite of what you just paid for. Second, and this is the one that really hurts because you don't find out until it's dry, staining wood that isn't dry itself. Go over damp boards or let dew land on it before it's cured and it turns blotchy. Dark in patches, thin in others, and there is no fixing that short of doing the whole run again. 2 dry days on either side. Start in the morning so it cures before the evening damp comes down. Number 4, fresh dark mulch, the right kind. Nothing sells. Somebody takes care of this place faster than mulch that went down recently. Now, I have to square this with something I said because if you've been watching a while, you'll have caught it. Not long ago, I put dyed mulch at number 1 on a list of things that make a yard look dated, and I stand behind that. So let me be precise. It was never the color, it was the dye. What I want you buying is natural double-shredded hardwood. Ask for it by that name at the bulk yard. It's genuinely dark brown, near black when it's fresh, because that's what shredded hardwood looks like, not because somebody sprayed it. $30 to $55 a cubic yard in bulk, about a third cheaper than bagged, and it breaks down and feeds the soil. Dyed black is a different product. The color is sprayed on, it fades to a chalky gray in one summer, and then you're doing it again every spring to chase the look. There are gardeners on the forums who've been on that treadmill for years and are done with it. Here's why this one sits at number 4. The Realtors Association surveys thousands of agents on what outdoor work actually returns at sale. A mulch refresh, they priced the job around $340, came back at 126% of what it cost. It hands you back more than you put in. Nothing else on this list does that. One material, one color, everywhere. 2 inches. 2 is plenty and 4 is money in the bin. And one thing I still see done wrong in more American front yards than anything else on this list: a cone of mulch piled up against a trunk. That rots the bark. Pull it back 3 inches from every trunk out there. 10 minutes for the whole property. Subscribe if you want the rest of these as they come. New one every couple of days. And nobody pays me to recommend anything, which is why number 6 was a rented machine and not a $5,000 patio. 3 left. Number 1 is the $30 one. Number 3, repeat 1 plant, 1 finish. A bed with 15 different plants in it looks like a clearance rack. 3 of the same plant, or 5, looks like somebody decided something. This is the second rule: repetition. It is the cheapest form of luxury there is because it usually costs nothing at all. It's a rearrangement, not a purchase. 1 plant is a purchase. The same plant repeated is a design. How to do it without spending. Divide what you already have. Most perennials in your beds right now will come apart into 3 or 4 pieces this month or next, and those pieces go into the gaps where you'd otherwise buy something new. Same plant, 3 places, no receipt. Then pick 1 flower color and put it at the driveway, at the corner of the bed, and beside the front door. 3 appearances of 1 color pull the whole front of the house together into one thing. Your eye follows it around without you knowing. That's what it's doing. Same with hard materials. 1 planter finish, not 4. 1 color of stone. 1 edge treatment everywhere, not steel along the front and plastic along the side. Where this goes wrong is at the register, and I've done it myself plenty of times. You come home with 6 plants, all different, all singles. You tuck them into 6 gaps, and the bed gets busier every year while looking less designed every year. If you have a bed like that right now, and most of us do, the fix costs nothing. Move things so the same plant appears 3 times. Give away the true one-offs. The bed will look more expensive by Sunday evening, and you won't have spent $1. Number 2, cut a clean edge with a spade. Number 2 is free. takes an afternoon, and it's the one professional landscapers rate above everything else on this list. That soft, blurry line where your lawn dissolves into your bed, where the grass has crept in and the mulch has crept out, and there's a 3-inch band of neither one. That is what makes an otherwise decent yard look neglected. And almost nobody sees it. It's the most invisible problem in American landscaping. I've mentioned cutting an edge before when I was telling you to rip out that scalloped terracotta border. What I didn't tell you then is how much of the effect it's actually carrying. There's a landscaper on the trade forums, 20-plus years in the business, who put it about as plainly as it can be put. Anybody can spread mulch, but the edge is what gets the reaction. And he sold more work off his edging than off anything else he does. How? A flat spade, not a rounded one. Cut straight down, 4 to 6 inches deep, with the blade vertical. Vertical is the whole thing, because an angled cut fills back in by August. Pull the loose soil back into the bed, then keep the line running in one continuous sweep. Long, lazy curves. No wobbles, no little detours around individual plants. That's the difference between a yard that looks maintained and a yard that looks designed, and it costs you nothing but a Saturday. A plastic strip does not do this job. I know it's sold as if it does. Frost pushes it up out of the ground a little further every winter. It starts to wave along the top, and after 2 years, it looks worse than no edge at all. The honest part, a cut edge isn't permanent. You'll recut it every month or so through the growing season. 15 minutes a bed once you've got the line established. Before number 1, go stand at the curb. Better, take a photo from the street. A photograph strips out everything you've stopped seeing. 6 questions. Does anything repeat, or is every plant a one-off? Do the beds have a shape, or did they grow outward every time something new went in? Is the edge the same all the way around? Is there one strong thing, or 5 small ones competing? Does any color or material tie one part of the yard to another? And is there anything out there that just needs washing, fixing, or hauling away? That last one is the 3rd rule: restraint. A cheap-looking yard is usually not missing things. It has too much in it. Taking something out costs nothing. Don't fix all 6. Pick the one that changes the biggest part of the picture. Then the sentence I care about most in this whole video. Go stand at the window you look out of most. The kitchen one, or the one beside your chair. What you see from there is the yard you actually live in, not the one from the street. If you do one thing this weekend, do it inside that frame. Number 1, paint the front door black. $30 to $80, 1 quart of paint in an afternoon. Zillow looked at 135,000 homes that had actually sold, matched against photographs of what was in them. Homes with a black or charcoal front door sold for about $6,200 more than expected, the largest premium of any color, anywhere on the house, inside or out. $30 in one direction, $6,000 in the other. Nothing else on this list is in the same universe. Semi-gloss, 100% acrylic exterior, primer first if you're going over a light color. 3 or 4 hours, 2 coats, 1 afternoon. And while the door is drying, put the house numbers, the porch light, and the mailbox in one matching finish. Black or brushed nickel, pick one. That's the repetition rule again, working on the 6 square feet of your property that every single person looks at. 10 of them. Landscape lighting, a compacted stone sitting area, a flagstone path, 1 big planter, a pressure washer, dark stain on the fence, natural dark mulch, 1 plant repeated, a clean spade cut edge, and a black front door for $30. I've seen $20,000 yards that looked cluttered and a few $100 yard that looked like a magazine. The difference was never the price list. It was scale, repetition, and leaving things out.